What up? I'm B and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great Thursday and you are ready to get into all of this mess. Looks like we've already got some people in here. Adultish said, so happy that I'm here before the live starts. Now I don't need to rush. Brianna said, hey B, and same. Sinead's in here. Hi you guys. I'm glad that you're all here like right as we start. That's awesome. Alright, so you guys having a good Thursday today? We have a lot to talk about. And also, like, this is just a random side note. I knew it was Thursday, but I also kind of feel like I'm losing track of my days, and it's been real odd. Alright, Becca's in here. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Becca. Hi, South of Grace. Hi. Oh my gosh, I said your name wrong, I think, the last stream, too. I don't know if it's Aki or Aki, but hi, I'm glad you're here. So I got a notification finally. Courtney's in here. Hi, you guys. Okay, so we're just gonna wait like 2-3 minutes, let people get some time to get in here, and then we will get started. So you guys can let me know what you want to talk about first. Type Gabby if you want to talk about the Gabby Hannah Hello Leash situation first, or type Shane if you want to talk about his statement first. Meg said, been waiting for your lives so I can process all of this YouTube drama. It's so much. Like, the notes that I have written out are just like, it's literally nuts. Jordan said, OMG, no, I had so much work to do today. I had to file tax exemptions for a company, and it was so boring. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Okay, Aki said either way is fine. Okay, cool. And, oh, hi, Oscar. I'm glad you popped in for a little bit, but have fun at work. Be safe. Have a good time. And, yeah, obviously the replay will be left up, so I can't wait to hear your thoughts after. Gabby. Alright, so we all want to do Gabby first. Sounds good. So, a lot of you guys were also mentioning it during the last stream too, because amongst all of this talk about Gabby Hannah being shadow banned, allegedly, like YouTube specifically targeting her, drama channel specifically targeting her, and she said, like, she didn't exactly say who every single time, but she's like, these have been targeted attacks. Like, that's really what she was kind of going with. And I think, you know, we all kind of understand that there's some validity to what she's saying. Some of it's a little bit dramatic, but amongst all of this, Gabby had an interaction with a YouTuber named Hello Leash, or Alicia Page if you've seen her on Twitter. She has a YouTube channel that has about 27,000 subscribers last time I checked, and she and Gabby got into it. So, basically, like, brief overview, because when it comes to, like, personal like arguments that happen in private, I think it's really hard to kind of understand exactly how everything went down, because they went from, well, basically Alicia had tweeted something that was just kind of like a smart aleck comment about Gabby. Gabby commented back on it saying, like, you know, basically she said, someone had mentioned that Alicia makes fair videos about Gabby, and Alicia said, well, I don't agree with her all the time, so I guess my videos are just hateful. Something along those lines. And then Gabby was like, who said anything about you? Like, why are you inserting yourself into this? Something along those lines. They went back and forth for a little bit, ended up going in the DMs for a little bit, then had a phone call that lasted quite a long time, and then after they were texting a little bit, and then yeah, we'll get into what happened after that, but they have since stopped communication and are blocking each other, because basically the culmination of the conversation was Gabby feeling that Alicia was going to make a video exposing their private conversations, when Alicia was saying she was just going to tell her audience how she was feeling about this situation in general. And so I think Gabby was really up in arms, and she's been very, like, guarded and very, I don't know, hype. Like, what's a nice way of saying on edge? Like, she's been very defensive for a long time now. And when she heard that Alicia was going to make this video, she got really pissed and did 2 separate live streams showing all of their communication, showing, like, reading it out loud, and then showed the screen, and Alicia's phone number was on there, but from what I saw, you couldn't actually see the phone number, you couldn't make it out, and so that's good. Hopefully, like, you can't, but I don't know, like, I'm not a tech genius, so it may be possible. I think Gabby should take the stream down, but she hasn't, and then Alicia made a long video detailing her side of it. So that's, like, broad stroke what happened. But when you get into, like, the nitty-gritty parts of the details, basically it was just that they were going back and forth. They had a bit of a disagreement. They came to a place where they thought that they were kind of on the same page about things, and Alicia even proposed the idea of, like, well, you say that nobody's fair to you and that people aren't showing your side, so what if I did that? Like, what if I did a bit of a deeper series digging into your side of things and trying to defend you? And Gabby was like, yeah, that would be lovely. Like, I'm not going to talk you out of it. And then on one of Gabby's lives, she mentioned the interaction that started their communication and said, like, I'm cool with this person now, but this thing happened. And Alicia was upset that Gabby had mentioned it. Gabby didn't say her name, but it was kind of easy. If you know who Hello Leash is, it was kind of easy to know that that's who she was talking about. And so Alicia was upset about it. She reached out to Gabby. Gabby didn't respond for, like, a full day. And then Alicia, and here's something that I think a lot about from what we've seen and from what was read of their conversation. Alicia sent a message that was confusing to Gabby. And at the same time, Gabby was living with the text messages that had been sent from somebody who knew both of them that were showing that Alicia was planning to make a video stating her side. And so I know that this is really confusing, but basically Gabby and Alicia both know this one person that she called Jim as, like, a fake name. And Alicia had told Jim, like, I still feel kind of off kilter about stuff. But I need to make, like, I have to make a video telling my side. And the reason she said that was because she had been very quiet about criticizing Gabby lately, and her fans were like, hey, what's up? Like, you're usually very vocal about this. If I remember correctly, Alicia had gotten a good portion of her following from Gabby Hanna videos. And so they were like, you know, I know you think she's having a tough time, but she's still doing things that aren't okay. Like, I don't understand why you're not calling her out. And Alicia was like, you're right. Like, you know, just because she's having a tough time mentally doesn't make some of this stuff okay. I need to explain myself to my audience. That Jim guy sent it to Gabby. Gabby gets pissed because in her head, the way it was said, it sounded like Alicia was going to share their private information. And when Gabby didn't respond to Alicia the first time, she said, hey, I don't like that you mentioned our conversation, or, like, our Twitter interaction on that live. Gabby didn't respond, and so Alicia thought about it more and more, according to her text messages that were shown, and just got to a point, I guess, where she felt really uncomfortable and didn't want to continue any sort of conversation with Gabby. And so she sent a follow-up message that was basically a preemptive of, like, she was going to be blocking Gabby and wanted to give Gabby a chance to say anything before doing so. But that's not what the message seemed like. The message seemed like, hey, like, I'm going to make a video, so do you have anything important to say to me? And I understand where Alicia was coming from. She wanted to give Gabby a heads up of, like, hey, I no longer want to engage in conversation with you. For my own mental health, I'm going to block your number, but I just wanted to, like, give you a heads up and let you know. But it seemed like an ultimatum to Gabby. And so they got into it a little bit more following that, and even more miscommunication happened. So if you have any questions, let me know. Elle Bell said in her live about Hello Leash, her hand was literally trembling and shaking the entire time. I feel like she's not well. Yeah, like, she, in a lot of her lives, she was shaking her hand, and, like, that can come from lack of sleep, anxiety, high emotions, all of the above, anger. Like, I feel like it's a bad sign. Hey guys said, does anybody else think that she keeps doing the same bit over and over again with her drama? Like it's always a big misunderstanding and it gets brought out into social media. Yeah, I mean, there are definite patterns in Gabby's behavior. And the thing was, like Gabby said, like I'm sharing these messages because this person made it clear that they were going to do it first. And in that anger, like in that like knee-jerk response, she was highly irresponsible and could have potentially like again, I don't know if you can enhance the screen where it shows Alicia's number, but she could have doxed her in her emotional state. And I think so much of it boils down to the fact that they were having high emotions in their conversation and it was a constant state of miscommunication, and also Gabby being on the defense, because according to Alicia, she wanted to work things out with Gabby. She wanted to have a productive conversation, and I'm sure that Gabby's used to people always going up against her, because one specific example was, and here's where I'm gonna call Gabby out a little bit more, is Gabby told her side of the story, but I feel like there was a lot of embellishment in it and a lot of trying to make Alicia seem I don't know the right word, odd or like off-putting, because she kept saying like, and she's a massive fan. She's obsessed with us. She's obsessed with you and Peyton and me, like making her seem like she might be a little bit mentally unstable is the vibe that I got that Gabby was trying to like put out there about Alicia. And so at one point, Alicia was like saying something about one of Gabby's song lyrics that gets tweeted to her all the time, which is like, it's kind of funny because my name makes you lots of money. And Gabby says that Alicia said, you know, in your song that you wrote about me. And then Gabby does and reaches back to her and said, and I said, you don't for real think, and I said this, you don't think that I wrote a whole song about you, and like makes it very dramatic, when I think it was probably just like, oh, the song that you wrote about drama channels, or the song that gets quoted to me all the time. And so Gabby corrects her on the lyric in the end of the story, in both of their stories. Gabby corrects her on the lyric, and according to Alicia, she says, okay, you're telling me that that's the correct lyric. Okay, like I believe you. And Gabby says, no, tell me where I said that. Tell me where I said the only way people make money is by talking about me. And Alicia says, Gabby, I believe you. Like, I'm not going to go do that. I'm not going to go back and find something that's not there, because I believe you when you say this is the correct lyric, and that's why people say it. Where Gabby takes it as, oh, the second I called her out and asked her to show me proof of where I said that, she said, well, I'm not going to do that. You know? And so, like, literally the words could be the exact same of, I'm not going to do that. But for Alicia, it's, I believe you when you say that that's the correct lyric. And with Gabby, it's, you know, oh, now that I've been called out, I'm not going to go do that. I just want to say whatever without proof. You know? Like, does that make sense how I'm explaining it? Courtney said, Gabby made Alicia seem obsessive, and for someone who was upset that drama channels call her crazy and mock her mental health, she threw around narcissistic and gaslighting, etc. Yeah. UA said, I honestly feel bad for her. Maybe this is all because she has PTSD from all the drama, but yikes, I feel bad that she feels so justified by all that she's doing and genuinely thinks she's 100% the victim. Yeah. Adulteress said, emotions sometimes take over the rational thinking. She should have taken a step back and not jumped on it immediately. Michaela said, that was the most frustrating part of the whole thing, to be honest. And Elle Bell said, hello, Leash said she felt like Gabby was constantly talking over her. And in Gabby's life, she constantly cuts off Irene or her partner and will talk over them. Yeah. Yeah. So that was like a big thing too, is like, yeah, and I believe that Gabby was talking over her because, I mean, from what we've heard, that's like her style of communication. But I think Alicia couldn't communicate effectively either, because she said in her video, she's like, I was in like a high emotional state, you know. Basically, when Gabby responded to Alicia on Twitter, it caused Alicia to get a lot more attention because of just the way Twitter shows different tweets. If Gabby responded to her, a lot of her fans were going to see that. And so there was a lot of people tweeting at Alicia, and then they were going back and forth in the DMs before they got on a phone call. And obviously hindsight is 2020, but I feel like this entire situation could have been avoided because it happened over, like 2 days, like at most. I feel like this could have been avoided if one of them had just said, hey, like, we were going back and forth a lot in the DMs. It's a lot to process. Let's take a step back. Like, give me a few hours. I'm going to calm down, like, get in a good space to have this communication, and then let's get on a call. Because I do think texting back and forth or DMing back and forth is not the best way to have a productive conversation, but jumping right into it is just asking for problems. You know, I don't know what I would do, but as an outside observer, you know, I think it's hard when you're in that type of situation to make the best decision. But as an outside observer, it's like, give yourself a minute. Don't be too worked up. People always, like, have problems communicating clearly when they're really emotional. And so Gabby's really defensive and Alicia's really overwhelmed. Let's take a step back. Let's have some time, go get some dinner or something, then come back and have the call. Potato McGee said, I used to really like Gabby and I understand kind of how she's feeling, but she's gotten in a lot of drama lately, and from a viewer standpoint, it's very off-putting. Yeah, like, I used to be a fan too, but just over the past... Well, I was a big fan, and then I kind of lost interest in her content that she was putting out. Like, it just wasn't something I was interested in watching. And now, over the past year, all this drama keeps happening, and I'm like, dude, come on, like, get it together. Anna said, I don't get how she has been saying how amazing her life is, how happy she is, but now she plays that she had the worst year ever. Her mental health is bad. Just pick one. Right. I think Gabby says it a lot to, like, I don't know, convince herself and convince others. Meg Kelly said, it's wild that Gabby has been responding to this level to any mention of her. Yeah, and that's another thing that was kind of miscommunicated in their conversation, because Gabby kept asking Alicia, like, well, okay, to give, like, just smaller examples of how they had miscommunication, at one point, oh, sorry, I had cinnamon in my drink, and I think it got stuck in my throat. So at one point, Alicia had told Gabby, lines got crossed. And Gabby's like, what do you mean lines got crossed? Like, how did I cross a line? What did I do? And I don't know how the whole conversation went, but when Alicia said lines got crossed, she meant our wires got crossed. Like, we had a miscommunication. We got mixed up somewhere, and we had a misunderstanding, and that's why we're on two completely different places. You know, like, I've never heard the phrase, like, lines got crossed in that context, but I'm sure it exists. Like, I'm sure it exists somewhere. I've always heard it, though, as our wires got crossed. And so Alicia, from what I understand, just kept saying, well, lines got crossed. And then that makes Gabby more defensive because she's like, well, what did I do? What line did I cross? And Alicia's trying to say, like, no, we just had a miscommunication, but apparently she didn't phrase it that way. And so, like, they can't seem to agree on what's happening because they have different understandings of the conversation. And then another part was, and I'm going to say it out here. I know a lot of you guys are big fans of Alicia and Hello Alicia, and I think that she makes some really good content. But some of the things she said were out of line. Like, some of the things she said were really rude. And I understand having, like, high emotions, acting out, saying things you don't mean. But we got to be fair to both sides. Some of the stuff she said was kind of rude. And so at one point, like, Alicia had said, like, no one talks to me like this. No one. You seem to have these types of conversations a lot, though. And Gabby says, only with monsters on the internet. And in Gabby's head, she wasn't talking about Alicia, but, I mean, like, why would you say that and not be talking about her? And so Alicia responds, monster? But she doesn't put a question mark after it. And so Gabby says, oh, yeah, so you're just gonna call me a monster? And it's like, this is such a simple miscommunication that amps everything up. Like, just these tiny things. Because Alicia literally meant monster, not monster. You know, it's just that little tiny thing. She didn't put a question mark after monster, and now Gabby thinks that you called her a monster. It's stuff like that. I'm seeing what you guys are saying. Oh, you guys are talking about Jen and Jesse. Yeah, we can talk about that. But I mean, basically, that's the thing, is like they had all these tiny like miscommunications, and at the end of the day, I feel like I can't totally agree with all the things that were said on both sides. You know, like Alicia kept saying, because the whole thing started was because of a snarky tweet that Alicia, hold on, sorry. I'm getting a call. I'm not going to answer it, but the whole thing started because Alicia made a tweet that was kind of snarky, that was like a smart aleck remark. Gabby responded, and Alicia kept saying, well, like, I didn't think you'd see it. And so Gabby took it to mean, like, well, just because you didn't think I'd see it, does that make it okay to say? Like, and I agree with that. Like, I would not tweet something that I wouldn't say to somebody's face. And I feel like that's a good, like, just rule of thumb to have, is, like, if you wouldn't say it to someone's face, don't say it on the internet. Don't say it anonymously. But Alicia says, like, well, I just meant, like, I didn't think you would care because you have 6 million subscribers and I have 27,000. Like, I didn't think you would have such a reaction or care about what I said. And while I do think it's kind of a waste of Gabby's time to be engaging in conversations like this, because, I mean, yeah, it was a smart aleck tweet, but, like, Alicia makes pretty fair content, and she makes it known in her videos that she does like Gabby's content. Like, she watches the podcast and she likes her. Like, you know, there are people who she could potentially be focusing more of her energy on, you know, or like causes that she could be focusing more of her energy on. So I get where Alicia's coming from, saying, like, well, why do you care what I say? I'm such a small person. But at the same time, Gabby has the right to be upset about whatever she wants to be upset about. Courtney said, I noticed it too. I was like, where is the question mark? Why did you say lines instead of wires were crossed? Like, OMG. Right? I'm like, come on. It's just these tiny little things that, like, ruined it. And maybe not ruined it, but, like, that amped things up quite a bit. Druggy Vibes said, Gabby isn't stupid. She knows what she's saying, but just wants drama and her fans to protect her. Yeah, the way she played up their conversation was a lot. Whitney said, the small miscommunications and everything blown out of proportion reminds me of how a bad romance novel conflict is. Gabby's deaf looking for any attention at all. Elle Bell said, Gabby seems to really care too much of what everyone, and I do mean everyone, even strangers on the internet, thinks of her. Yeah. Michaela said, yeah, the whole thing of her saying I didn't know you would see it was a lame excuse. Right, like, I don't know. I mean, she can have her feelings on however she wants, but, like, what kind of logic is that? Like, oh, it was okay because I didn't think you would see it, and if you did, I'm such a smaller channel, why do you care? Like, words still hurt. Like, you know, it's like, even if I'm, like, in my 20s and a 12-year-old says, your hair looks stupid, even though it's a kid saying it to me, like, even though it's somebody who has significantly less power than me, less impact on the world than me, I'm still gonna be like, dang, that was rude. Why would you say that? You know, it's still going to have an impact, even if it's coming from someone with less power or less of an audience, less, I don't know, what's it called? Oh my gosh, what is that word? Less. Wow. I don't know. The word is gone. I'm going to remember it later though. But like less of a strong reputation than you. You know, it's a kid, but it's still going to hurt. Brianna said, yeah, I feel like a lot of people forget that there are people behind the handle of the screen. They do. And it's easy to forget. Like, it's an easy thing, but you have to remind yourself. Becca said, that's why I hate texting, because it's so easy for people to misunderstand what the other person is saying. It's so easy, dude. So easy. Okay. Elbel said, it was definitely snarky of Alicia to tweet that, but isn't that what Gabby acts like? She treats all commentary drama channels like they're the same, and they're not. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, no matter how Gabby acts, people are still accountable for how they act. Like, I don't think you can excuse one bad act because somebody else did it too. You know, like, we're still accountable for ourselves. And even if Gabby is snarky, petty, goes after people about dumb stuff, that doesn't make it okay. Like, we criticize her for that, if that makes sense. Oh, you guys are trying to... No, you guys are trying to, like, guess the word that it is. You're saying credibility, clout, agency, influence. It's like, you know, when maybe, like, a company has been around for a long time and you know that it's like a trustworthy company, and there's like a single word that you would say, like, oh, that company is blank, like they have blank, it's one, whatever, I'll think about it later. Bing Sting said, as a thick chick who used to teach preschool, it was never easy to hear a 5-year-old ask if you're pregnant. See? That's horrifying. What did you do? Because I would get so mad. If a kid asked me that, I'd be like, excuse you. Reputable. Yeah, like they're not like it's a 12-year-old. Like they're not like a reputable person, you know? Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm sorry if I yelled. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Whitney. You guys, you got it. That was so frustrating. Toodles McPhee said, when I saw her newer story time about confronting the woman who yelled at her for not social distancing, I realized she hasn't really changed. Right. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. You're all guessing that now. Thank you. Bing Stinks had cried on break. Oh, I believe it. That sucks. Like, that's like... One time I took my friend's kid out to, like, my nephew's baseball game, and, like, my whole family, we went out, and, like, the team went out to, like, eat afterwards, and so we got stuff, and she's, like, she was probably 9 or 10 at the time that this happened, and so we, like, ate stuff we went to, like, Sonic, we ate stuff at the fast food place, and then she was talking about, oh, like, do you remember when my dad made that zucchini, like that spicy zucchini? I was like, yeah, that was really good. I'm going to ask him to make me some when I drop you back off. And she's like, why? You just ate. You're not full? And, like, I just said it because I was like, oh, yeah, that was good. You know, like, how you just make dumb conversation sometimes with kids? Like, you just say stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to ask him to make me some when we get to your house. Why? And I was like, ugh. And I felt like I was being judged, even though she was a kid, you know? Anyway, so the last thing I will say about the Gabby and Alicia thing, because I feel like this is, like, an important part of the conversation, is that Gabby thought Alicia was saying to their mutual friend that, like, she said, Gabby... Should I pull it up? Do I have the actual phrasing of it? Give me one second. Let me see if I have it. Okay, I don't. But she said, I was going to make a video showing her side over the past few days. Like, she got me on her side and she convinced me to do it. And Alicia says that, so Jim, their friend, sent those screenshots to Gabby, and Gabby's like, okay, I didn't convince you to do anything. It was your idea. That's ridiculous. Like, I did not convince you to do anything. I'm not going to deter you from doing it because I would love for you to make a video saying my side, but I didn't convince you. And Alicia says that she meant it as in, like, oh, through talking to her, I arrived at the conclusion that maybe she'd been treated unfairly from the conversations we had. Like, the conversations convinced me to switch my point of view. But she also said, like, I probably would have made those videos too if she hadn't ghosted me when Gabby didn't respond for a day. And I don't watch enough of Alicia's content. I don't know her well enough to know if that's the truth. But I also can very much see why Gabby got defensive. Because Alicia, in those text messages, said she convinced me to do it, and I probably would have too if she hadn't ghosted me. And I get that, like, Gabby seems to have a lot of time to, like, respond to people on Twitter and go back and forth in the DMs and, like, constantly be tweeting. But I think we've all kind of agreed that that's not healthy. And so, for me, I wouldn't have taken it so personally. I would have said, hey, like, we've all been saying she should take a break. It's probably okay that she doesn't text me back. It's probably okay that it takes a while. Because when you boil it down, yeah, they had a lot of conversation and communication back and forth, but they don't know each other. And Gabby brought this up. She's like, you're essentially a stranger. And yeah, you can at some point have time to do that, but it's also okay to take a step back. Like, Gabby should not be on her phone so much. And so, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm sure maybe Alicia felt some kind of way about not getting a response when she'd been getting it over and over again. But the fact that you're going to text her one time and be like, hey, I felt uncomfortable about the mention of me in your stream, just wanted to let you know, and then you're going to wait a day and then be like, the more I think about it, the more angry I am, so I'd like to back away from this line of communication unless you have something important to say to me, and then you tell somebody else that you're going to make a video sharing your side because Gabby ghosted you. It just seems shady. Like, I can see how it could be explained away in a very logical way. And so again, I don't know her well enough to know what her motive is, what her MO is. But I can see why Gabby flipped out. But at the same time, Gabby's got to be responsible for Gabby. And she did that stream in a highly emotional state and was reckless. And she made it very clear who she was talking about. She said Alicia's name in one of the messages that she was reading, and she potentially doxed her. And that stream is still up. So both of them messed up, in my opinion. Elbel said they both definitely screwed up, but I think what's so frustrating about Gabby is that she never takes accountability for anything. Yeah. And she doesn't. Like, you're not going to hear any arguments from me on that. She doesn't take accountability. K-Larg said, Gabby should not text. She can't read intent in her text. She clearly needs to listen, but she needs to learn to listen. Mm-hmm. Oh, Meg Kelly said, I didn't believe that Alicia meant her explanations for crossing lines or convinced. Do you think that that was kind of like a covering of her side of the story? A Strange said, what is with the doxing lately? I don't know. And the thing is, like, I truly think that Gabby did it because she was so emotionally amped. Like, her hands were shaking. She was, like, yelling at some points and, like, getting really intense. And I get that she speaks in a really animated way, but you could tell she was pissed. Like, she was fired up. She was emotional. She said, I have to share this before Alicia has the chance to make a video and tell whatever it is she's going to tell. And she got reckless. and she showed Alicia's phone number. Again, it was blurry. It was very grainy. I saw the video. I went back. I looked at it. I tried to see if I could like zoom in and make it out, but it's literally just blur. So again, maybe somebody who's better with technology would be able to get her phone number from that, but I don't know. Like, I would have no way of knowing, you know? Elbel said, well, and she kind of did the same thing with Alicia that she did with Trisha. Right, like, I'm going to tell you about a situation, but I'm not going to tell you who it is, but then subtly leaking who it is. Inez said, I think Gabby purposefully overwhelmed Alicia during her call and messages, so I think the outcome of it could only be this one. Yeah. Yeah, she, and we've heard that before. Like, we've heard that over and over again, that Gabby will intentionally overpower you and just not let you talk. So we've heard that from a ton of different people. Dee said, just some insight. Where I'm from, people say our lines were crossed, which I think is how Alicia phrased it. Maybe I'm saying I've heard it. Yeah, like, I believe that it's a phrase, but the way they both said it is that Alicia said lines were crossed. And I'm like, you gotta give some clarity on that, because there's no way that you don't see how that, like, how she's not understanding what you're saying. My, like, rule of communication is if I say something once and you misunderstand me, I'll say it again the exact same way, and if you still don't understand what I'm saying, I'll rephrase it. Like, even if it's something very simple, something very easy, like, I don't know, like what my plans are for the weekend, like just a quick phrase about that. Like, I'll repeat myself the exact same way once because that's easiest for me, but if you still don't understand what I'm saying, I'll change the way I say it. And so if someone's not getting when I say lines got crossed, I'll say, oh, there was a miscommunication. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just me, though. All right, so I see you guys talking about Jenna, and I actually have a note to talk about her when we're done with Shane. So if you guys want to hold off on it, we can, all have, like, a full conversation about it in a little bit. But next thing you guys were saying about with Jesse and Jen, I feel like I have an opinion that not a lot of people agree with for that. Like, Gabby was very intense on her podcast. She called people narcissistic abusers, which I think is really not cool for somebody who claims to be so, like, pro mental health. Like, you can't just call somebody that. And she got very intense, and she basically said that Jesse and Jen and Alex had, like, targeted her for the past 6 years. And whether that's true or not, she did eventually say that, like, they were spreading this rumor about her. And I think she was kind of intentionally vague because she did have tweets with Curtis Lepore the day Jesse's story broke. They're there. You can go back and find them. But some people are saying that Gabby collabed with him, and it has been proven that she didn't. She did not collab with him. And I can't speak for Jen Dent or Alex James, but I've not seen, I mean, I can't speak for Jesse either, but I haven't seen her say that Gabby collabed with Curtis. And so I think Gabby's trying to make it kind of messy and not say specifically which part of the rumor it is, because no one's, like, people are saying that, but nobody who, I don't know, knows the whole situation should say that she collabed with him, because she definitely didn't. And Not Another Drama Channel did, like, a deep dive into Gabby's side of the story. And so part of it was that Alex James actually collabed with Curtis. And so for me, I feel like so much of the conversation revolving around that is no longer productive. It's no longer a productive conversation to have. And I felt like that for a little while now. I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, Gabby tweeted some really insensitive and disturbing stuff the day that, like, just mean stuff, like, that you shouldn't say about anybody, the day that the TMZ story broke. But she didn't collab with him. She didn't work with him afterwards. And she and Jesse became friends after that. Alex did collab with him after the story, after he had signed his, like, I don't know if it's called his confession or what. He had, like, a signed paperwork admitting what he did to Jesse, and he signed it in a court of law and admitted to what he did. And Alex collabed with him after. And obviously, Jesse 1000% has the right and the autonomy to choose who she wants to be friends with regarding anything, but especially when it comes to who she's gonna forgive for this. But I feel like if she forgave Gabby enough to let Gabby move into her apartment when they first became friends, what good is it gonna do to talk about it now? Like, yes, I can't imagine how hurtful it is to see that. But if you forgave her at one point, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Because Gabby does still talk about it a lot. So it needs to be both of them. But, like, Gabby needs to not backtrack. Because she did admit that she tweeted with Curtis on that day. But now she's coming back and saying, like, oh, rumors have been made up about me for the past 6 years. And it's like, okay, no. We're not going to go back on that, because she even said, this is the part that gets me, is in her video where she addressed everything. She said, as far as saying, like, oh, well, his friends didn't I may have said that, I may have not. I've said a lot of things in my anger, so I can't confirm it, but I'm sorry. Like, if I did. It's like, she said that in her video, and then on Twitter, she goes on to say, now, Of course I never said that. I just thought if I apologized, it would be over. And it's like, dude, come on. And then she also, in her podcast, said, she said, I didn't hurt people by saying with those words. Jessie hurt people with those words because she's the one who brought them public. And I'm like, dude, you're not helping your case. If you could just take accountability for, like, small things, if you could just take accountability for, like, half the stuff, because half the stuff that you're accused of, you did do. Like, it is still a problem. If you could just take accountability for it. Instead of saying, I didn't hurt people with those words, Jessie hurt people with those words. I mean, dude. Elbel said, Jessie definitely said on Twitter that Gabby never collabed with Curtis. Yeah, like, I thought she said that. I thought she straight up said that never happened. And so I'm like, I can't speak for Jen or Alex. I don't follow either of them on Twitter, so I don't know. But, like, the main person involved in this has put that rumor down and said, like, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm mad about. And so Gabby needs to stop focusing on it. Like, that's not the part that people are mad about. Most people are not saying that she collabed with him. See what you guys are saying. When he said plea deal, he signed a plea deal. He could have made an Alfred plea, which is saying you maintain your innocence, but you are acknowledging that there's enough evidence to convict you, and so you are taking a plea deal. Dude, okay, side note, that is like, because I've heard of an Alfred plea before, but that's like the most concise way I have ever heard somebody explain that. I love that. But yeah, like, Curtis signed his plea deal. He signed his confession. Or whatever he said in it. I don't know what he said in it. But anyway. Meg Kelly said, ooh, Gabby's saying it's Jessie's responsibility for making her words public was too far. Right. Like, what do you mean? Like, Gabby's saying, I didn't hurt people with those words. Jessie did. Jessie brought those up. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Potato McGee said, I guess I just don't understand why all this stuff with Gabby, Alicia, Jesse, etc. was made public. It doesn't seem like it helped anyone. Right. And as said, she's also always talking about what that girl who was murdered situation where drama channels were 100% in the wrong. Yeah, like, and the thing is, like, this is another thing where Gabby doesn't take accountability for anything. She spins it to make it look like other people are out to get her. Because she says, like, you know, and I didn't make fun of a dead girl. And people want to say I made fun of her. I was so nice to her. I said I have that shirt. That would be me. And for me, like, what my problem was with the video was that you included an article that talked about her murder and, like, didn't acknowledge it. Nobody from what I saw said that you were making fun of her. Nobody said that you were, like, being mean to her. You modeled your look after her. That's super nice. Like, that's super flattering. But it's the fact that, like, you edited this part of the article into your video without, like, giving it a skim. Like, I mean, I know she doesn't edit her own videos, but, like, you skimmed through the article. Okay, fine. You didn't see it. But, like, I don't know. If I had an editor, I would hope that they would, like, be a little bit detail-oriented and give me a heads up. And so we can get past it. We can say, hey, you know what? She was just skimming the article. Whatever. Let's have her say, hey, sorry, I didn't read the article. I loved her look, though, and I did base my look off of hers. I'm just going to take that part out. I'm so sorry I missed it. But she didn't respond. She waited and waited and waited and waited and then blurred it and didn't say anything and waited and waited and waited. And that's why people were mad. Nobody was saying that she was, like, making fun of Bianca. And now she wants to say, and everybody just will not let her for real rest in peace. Who's still talking about it? I haven't seen it. Meg Kelly said, and Peyton identifying that as valid really makes me question all of them. Yeah, like, they all literally are just like, like, letting her go off, and it's like, dude, ugh, like, I don't know, I get supporting the person that you're best friends with, and I get letting Gabby stick up for herself where she has been wronged, but at this point, like, Gabby won't admit anything. She says, like, I don't start anything. I never started anything, when she started so much of it. And it's like, it's okay. You know, there are so many people who mess up, who put out apologies, and most of the time, the genuine ones get accepted. Gabriel Zamora for Dramageddon 1, he put out, like, a straight up, just, like, talking apology, and people praised him for it. They were like, okay, great. You know, like, just put out a straight up admitting to what you did. And in most cases, if you're honest, it goes over well. Whitney said, haha, thank you. And I wonder why Gabby is so defensive. Why can't she just say, I'm sorry, I messed up, I'll do better? Why is that so difficult for her? Or does she just have a martyr complex? Right, like, she literally, like, people were not saying that she was making fun of Bianca. At the end of the day, I think it's great that Bianca's mom was like, no, she was a fan of you. She would have loved to know that, like, you inspired her look. And so, like, that's a cool thing. But the way that Gabby handled it, because I can understand missing it. If you are just hanging out with your friend, you're looking through an article, you're looking at pictures, you're not reading, I can understand missing it. I can understand you sending it to somebody else and that person potentially missing it too. But then once it's brought to your attention, just be like, holy crap, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Like, whatever. Okay. Potato McGee said, I can understand Gabby defending herself online to a point, but a lot of her responses now seem like she's attacking individual people, which isn't helping her case at all. Exactly. But that's pretty much all I had to say about Gabby. Now, let's move on to Shane. So, I've seen a lot of videos of people talking about Shane and about this statement and everything. So I won't read the statement unless there are a lot of you who haven't heard it. If you've watched anything else about it, you've probably heard it. But do a thumbs up if you have heard the statement. Do a thumbs down if you haven't, or if you just want me to read it on camera so you can be reminded of it. Because I don't, like, it's a long statement, and if you've heard it 1,000 times, I don't want to, like, be annoying and read it again. Chris said, this is so dumb, but anyway, hi. Hello. Thank Goody said, hey, hello, hello. Kaylarg said, oh, Shane, we have thoughts. Literally, so many thoughts. Okay. Elbel said, and it's just as gross as it is long. Right. That Goody said you could summarize it. Yeah, most of you have seen it. Some of you haven't. Please don't read it. I'm sick of hearing it. Yeah. Okay, so in summary, Shane thinks that his fans are dumb, the beauty community is toxic, and he's leaving, and you can kiss his butt on the way out the door. Like, if I'm summing it up. Basically, the reason that Shane put out a statement was because a lot of people have been talking about how, like in Cam's video, he mentioned that he heard Shane being really upset about James to Jeffrey. Shortly thereafter, Dramageddon 2 happened. Tati made her Bye Sisters video, and it seemed like Tati, Jeffrey, and Shane were all like buddy-buddy, and then shortly after that happened, Tati never talked to them again. Shane and Tati were supposed to have a collaboration come out. That never did. And now people are saying, like, okay, we think that Jeffrey at least had a bigger part to do with this. And so they're coming under a lot of scrutiny. And Elbel said, and James deserved to be called out, and Jeffrey can get away with anything because he's Jeffree Star, according to Shane. Yeah, I'll read that part for you guys, because a lot of his statement was like a question and answer thing. He's like, yeah, I knew she was making a video. No, I didn't plan it. No, I didn't have an involvement in the video. And one of the things he says was, did I need the drama to make a good series? Because he included a clip of that in the promo for his series with Jeffree Star. And I would dare to say, yeah, you did, because you put it in there. Like, of course you need a drama to make a good series. No one's gonna, like, the majority of your viewers watch you for the drama that you put out. Like, you put out dramatic docuseries about these highly, like, manipulative, problematic people. They love the drama, and that's okay. But, like, you did need it for the series, because nobody's interested, in his audience anyway, in a straight-up documentary about how to make a palette. They want the tea. But the biggest part that I wanted to read, and you guys know how I am when we're doing videos, as much as I can, I like to not say swear words, just because I don't know if there are kids in the room, parents who disapprove of the language. I censor myself for that reason, but Shane does not censor himself, and so I'm going to be censoring the swear words, but just know that he said them with his whole chest, alright? I'm not going to read the whole statement, I'm just going to read this one specific part. He said, the beauty gurus who are always involved in scandals are all the freaking same. They are all attention-seeking, game-playing, egocentric, narcissistic, vengeful, two-faced, ticking time bombs, ready to explode, and I am over it. Yes, they are talented, creative, smart, and love makeup, but they also joined a side of the internet that is obsessed with looks, money, power, fame, screenshots, and subtweets. Releasing private texts, voice memos, emails, and other receipts as a way to paint yourself in a particular light or someone else in a bad light is weird to me, and I will never engage in that. That is a game that they know how to play well, and I would rather eat my own hands off than play it. Yes, Jeffrey is in that list of dramatic gurus, and he would admit that, but he will always be family to me, and I love him despite those characteristics. Make that make sense to me. You would rather eat your hands off than engage in their games. But like the most problematic person in that community is family to you, and you love him. What? Bell said, oh wait, South of Grace said something first. South of Grace said Shane is literally a drama channel. Right. And then Elbel said, that's what was so hypocritical. Oh my god. That's what was so hypocritical. He called out drama channels when his whole brand is built on drama, suspense, and conspiracy. Right. K-Lark said, Tana, Trisha, Jake, Jeffrey, you know who I would prefer a docuseries on? Rob Edie, Christy, Jenna Marbles, Smokey Glow. Heck, even following Lily Singh would have been better. Right. That Goody said, when he gets bored, he wants out. Brana said, what I'm personally a little confused about is he said he's done with the beauty community, but his Shane Lawson channel is still up. He didn't post any makeup videos on a channel that he made. Yeah. Like, that's what so many different beauty gurus are saying. They're like, you were never in it. Like, you were never here with us. You were with Jeffrey, but you didn't do anything that we do. You didn't make any makeup videos. You made a collection, and that was it. And, like, the day that Will from the Twitter personality, the T-Spill Stan account, said, how come we haven't seen any makeup looks from you? You said, actually, I have a channel just for that. It's called Shane Lawson. And you never posted anything beauty related on the channel. Whitney said, I almost wonder if Jeffrey has receipts or DMs or messages from Shane, and that's why Shane made sure to say he loves Jeffrey. Probably. He says, I have receipts on everybody, and they all know it. Like, so dumb. And then here's another thing that, like, there's two more things in here I wanted to say. He said, in his little question answer part, have I ever tried to ruin a career or make someone look bad in my 15 years on YouTube? No. Do I have a track record of getting into drama with people or having fights with other YouTubers? No. Let's talk about how Shane did a video with one of his haters, primed his audience to not like that hater, and then offered that hater a job, bought him a Jeep, and took him to take a lie detector test that made him look bad. Does Bobby Burns, like, ring a bell to anybody? Because Shane literally primed his audience not to like him. They didn't like him, and then Shane offered him a job and moved him across the country to LA, where his channel completely fell off. And yes, Bobby has his own responsibility in it, but Shane's older. Shane should know better. Shane literally bought him a Jeep. And it felt odd to me when he did it. I was like, this seems weird. Like, this seems like a lot. I don't get it. So, Bobby Burns, when TanaCon happened, and he did that series, and the entire series was Tana crying and saying, I didn't know, I did everything I could, and Michael, he said that we were good and we weren't. And Shane comforting her. That was the whole series, and everyone was like, dude, what was that? That's bad. Jake Paul. Asking a therapist or whatever Katie Morton is, because I wouldn't trust her with my mental health, to go undercover and diagnose Jake Paul? Does that ring a bell? Like, does that ring a bell to anybody? Because people were pissed. And then they also, like, they had this little Q&A session about the hard-hitting questions she was going to ask Jake. And Jake basically said, all those questions are dumb. No, I didn't do that. No, I don't market to kids. That's so stupid. And Shane was like, oh, okay. And people were pissed. And, like, most importantly, the fact that he is best friends with Trisha Paytas. Like, one of the most problematic people. And here's the thing, like, yeah, Shane's his own person, Trisha's her own person, like, they can do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, you're like the 5 people that you spend most of your time with. The 5 people who you spend the most of your time with are like compounded into a sum of who you are, and you're going to be judged by the company you keep. And Trisha is a mess. Trisha is hateful, harmful, damaging, toxic, and there's no way to get around that. Despite how, oh, she's a troll. And even for me, like, I have to remind myself, because I want to like Trisha. Like, she does stuff sometimes and says stuff that's funny, and I'm like, man, I wish you didn't do this bad stuff because I want to like you. But she still is very hurtful and harmful to a lot of people. And so Shane's saying, like, I've never had drama with anybody. I've never had a problem. I've never made anybody look bad. That's a literal lie. Like, it's literally not true. It's like Gabby saying, I don't start drama. South of Grace said, Shane's so full of it. Yeah, Michaela said, yeah, the freaking Bobby Burns situation was whack. Literally. Like Goody said, wow, I wish someone I hate goes and buys me a car and treats me like a queen. Christina said, again, Bobby was also a young kid on the rise. Odd. Right. I gotta say, that was a good Tana impression. Thank you. Thank you. Jordan said, we need to stop apologizing for YouTubers who don't do it for themselves. So true. So true. Christina said, and not listening to Alyssa Violet's abuse story. Right. Like, it literally, I thought that was going to be, like, the thing that would, like, shift his perspective. And he was just like, oh, okay. Oh, that sucks. Like, ooh. Okay. So I said Trisha is all of that. Yeah. Elle Bell said, yeah, I'm cutting Trisha out of my view. She triggers me too much. Christina said, he named a shade in the palette for Trish. Right. Literally. Christina said, also, Shane and Gabby were / are friends at one point. Yeah. Elle Bell said, Samantha made an awesome video calling Shane on his BS. That was a good video. Yeah. I think Smokey Glow did a video on it. Amandab did a video on it. Who else did one that I watched? That girl Shade did a video on Jeffrey, but I don't know if she talked about Shane in it. But like a lot of people did. Oh, Sinead said, OMG, remember the Eugenie documentary? I didn't even watch it, quite honestly, because I'm like, the way I see it, Eugenia is a pawn for so many people on YouTube. Like, that's just how I see it. Like, the reason you're giving her attention is because you know it'll get views. And yeah, of course, like, that's why people make videos. Duh. But she's sick. She's very, very sick, and she's not better. And we want her to get better, right? Like, so when he did that video, I was like, I'm not watching it. I don't know if it was good or not. Elba said the Eugenia doc was painful. Tana McGee said, I started going off from Shane after the Garrett situation, the Graveyard Girl, but pretty much stopped watching him in the second Jeffrey series. His attitude just changed so much. Yeah. It changed a lot. Jordan said, my boyfriend is trans and Trisha should never be presented as a face or even an ally to the trans community. He was offended and hurt by Trisha pretending to be trans. Yeah. And I don't know. The thing is, like, my gig is not to say whether people are, like, in public. I have my opinions in private. But in public, my responsible thing to do is not to assume whether someone is faking or not. However, the way Trisha presented herself in that video was extremely irresponsible and hurtful. We're talking about what happened with Garrett. I'm not sure. I know that there's like not hanging out with Garrett as much, but I don't know all the details of it. If anyone knows the details of what happened with Garrett, definitely feel free to drop it. When he said, yeah, I'm a recovering anorexic, I'm currently in remission, and now Eugenia will never get better with all of these people watching her, it really broke my heart. Well, I'm rooting for you, and I hope that you are doing well, but yeah, like putting her out on display like that when she's not completely like in a good spot, because I can't even, like, I didn't watch the video, I didn't watch the series, so I don't know how it went, but I can only assume that in that short amount of time she was not in a good enough headspace to do this, because I saw her do an interview with Katie Morton after that series, which Katie, I disagree with a lot of the things that she has done, and I feel like it's highly irresponsible for someone in the mental health profession to be doing the things that she does. But anyway, and Eugenia still was mad that Jacqueline Glenn and their other friends had put her into an institution. They'd basically called, I don't know what it's called, like, but they'd basically like called in, they said like she cannot care for herself at this point. She is hurting herself and she doesn't see it. She doesn't understand it. She needs help. I don't know if it's like a 5150 or something. I don't know, but it's like a mental health hold. They called somebody to come to where they were. They interviewed Eugenia. They saw what she looked like and they took her to a mental health facility to help her. And Eugenia still, the way she presented it was, I was so betrayed because I wasn't even friends with them. Like, I know it's a completely different, topic, but like, that was so irresponsible of anybody who's collabed with her since that happened. Meg Kelly said, Garrett faked a demon being in haunted antique store in the graveyard video. It terrified her and Shane apologized for it but let him stay there. Oh my gosh. Adulteress said, Garrett was going through some emotional and family turmoil, hence why we haven't seen him a lot. What I found online about Shane and Garrett. Gotcha. I feel like a lot of like the things that happen with like Shane and his friends, other than like the main people he's still friends with, it's like they're friends for a little bit, they're in a lot of stuff, and then they kind of get booted out. Like, I had so much more fun watching like spooky videos with like Drew Monson, Garrett, and Shane. Like, that was fun to me. That was the kind of content I liked. I liked conspiracy videos. Like, even as dumb as it is, when he did like eating serial killers' last meals, I was like, that's interesting, I'll watch it. You know, like, there's just so much of his content that he's moved on to that is so drama centric that this statement, which is what we're supposed to be talking about, is dripping with hypocrisy. Kaylin said, just like Gabby and her friends. Right. Okay, so there was one last thing that I wanted to read in here. Oh, there was two more things. The first thing is brief. So he said, like, I guess I missed the part where Jeffrey got baptized and devoted his life to Christ. And it's like, we're not asking him to be a saint. We're asking Jeffrey to be a decent person, which he's not. We're asking him to just be like a decent human being. We're not asking him to be perfect. But the fact is, and here's the thing, like, Tati could come back and say the most like mind-blowing, this is what Jeffrey did behind the scenes, this is what Shane did behind the scenes, this is how they convinced me to do it, and it would not change my opinion of Tati. Because Tati was like, what, 37 when she posted that video about a 19-year-old? And I've said this online, like, if Tati wanted, if she was pissed and she wanted to make a video calling James out, do it. But, like, say the ways that he's a bad friend. don't like open the door for Jeffrey to come in and call James a predator. Don't leave that door open for Jeffrey to take advantage of it. So whatever Tati, if she comes back, when she comes back, whatever she says, it's not going to change my opinion on her, but it's going to solidify my opinion on Jeffrey and Shane. I forgot about that, Christina. What tipped me was the video where one of his old friends, Brittany, was telling her horrible marriage, and he put that with voice cloning and Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, he like combined them. God. That was so sad. I wish we would have gotten more information on her story, because I would have loved to learn more about like her story, how she got out of it, like what happened. Ugh. Thick Goody said, funny how Jeffrey got involved and it got exposed for liking straight men in the past. Right. Adulters said, did you by chance see Jeffrey's latest video where his first date does my makeup? It's so weird to watch and I wanted to scream run at the date. No, I did not. I don't watch Jeffrey. And I think that's why it's taken me such a long time to have like a hard stance on him, because I don't watch his current content. So for a long time, all I knew was like he said bad stuff in the past. He allegedly apologized. Some people say he did change, some people say he didn't. And so that was my perspective for a very long time. Was like, well, I don't watch him, I don't know him. But like the more people come out and say stuff, the more you have to believe them. Becca said, I hated that he talked about James that harshly. Like, I get you may not like him, but he was 19 and you're in your 30s. You're an adult. Come on. Right. Literally. And so, that was part of it, was like, we're just asking Jeffrey to be decent. Like, we're not asking him to be a good Christian boy. We're asking him to be, like, not a terrible human being, which is what a lot of people have accused him of being. And so the last thing I wanted to read was the part where he's talking about the video that Tati made. He did a dumb joke that I'm not going to read because I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing it. But the last part is, did I warn James about the video? No. Why? For reasons that I will never discuss. We've spoken privately on it, and that's that. Do I think James is the devil? No. Do I think he was a young, egocentric, power-hungry guru who needed to be served a slice of humble pie the size of the freaking Empire State Building? Yes. Has he grown as a person since then? It really seems like it, and that's amazing. I'm truly happy if he's realized how his ego is affecting others, which he did address in his No More Lies video. Do I think Tati's a villain? No. I think Tati was sick of being treated like crap by so many in the beauty world, and finally snapped. And dang, did she freaking snap all the way off. And that's when he goes into like his whole, oh, she did Game of Thrones video, like so dumb. That's like, what they did to James is not serving him a slice of humble pie. It's just not, because like I said, if she really thought he was a bad friend, she could have come out and said the way she thought he was a bad friend. But she literally twisted a scenario that apparently she knew the full context of to accuse him of trying to, like, convince straight guys that they were gay. And when you watch, because I watched her video, the Bye Sister video today again, and James's No More Lies video again, and he's like, no, like, I didn't try and convince this guy he was gay. He's like, I did, like, have a history of saying, like, I like straight guys, and going after, like, trying to flirt with guys who were straight, but as soon as they said they weren't interested, I backed off. And I do think James, like, you know, he said he knew he was gay from a really young age, and so there weren't a ton of gay guys where he was growing up. He didn't have a ton of opportunity to learn how to date, to learn normal behavior in the dating world. And so he was like, this was a wake-up call. Like, the way I talk to people is really off-putting. It's not okay. And I think with the screenshots that came out, it is safe to say that in some cases he seemed very manipulative and controlling, because he did, in my opinion, but that doesn't make him a predator. If somebody doesn't realize that this isn't an okay way to behave, and then they get called out and they're like, oh shoot, I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to be that way, and they change, they're not a predator. There's a difference between being a jerk and being a predator. Carousel said, they're both blatant, violent racists, so honestly, that should be enough for people not to support them. Yeah. Kathleen said, Shane needs to eat the rest of that pie. Right. Michaela said, I mean, the whole thing where James was high-key always coming onto the Dolan twins was very uncomfy. Like, I get it was maybe a played-up joke, but the twins were clearly uncomfortable. Yeah, and, like, that's a conversation that, like, maybe needs to be had, but it needs to be had in private. Because, like, the things that Jeffree said were just, like, horrifying. And I think it's something super interesting that not, like, people did clock it, but not a lot of people said. There was a text to James from Jeffree in May of last year that said, we definitely need to talk soon. Tati and Shane and a few others told me everything that you have said about me over the last 6 months. I'm heartbroken, disgusted, and so sad to hear everything, but shockingly not surprised. I have only been a great friend to you and never said anything bad about you behind the scenes, which is obviously not the case for you. Literally in May of last year, Tati and Shane and a few others have told me everything you've said about me. And some people clocked it. So I'm not going to say that nobody noticed it, because we got to talk about it. There have been black commentary channels on YouTube that for the past year and beyond have said something's not right about both of them. And for a large part, they were ignored. They were not believed, or they were like, yeah, that stuff's bad, but like, blah, blah, blah. And I'll admit, I played into it for a little bit. Like, I never said anything publicly, but like, I would watch a video talking about how Shane Dawson's like a bad person. And I'm like, well, that was the past. Like, it's fine. And that person making the commentary video is saying, this is from his past, but he hasn't changed. And I would just, like, have the luxury of being able to be ignorant to that. Like, I have the luxury of being like, oh, well, you know, those jokes didn't affect me. This thing that he's doing or that he did in the past, that doesn't affect me. So I have the luxury of being able to ignore it. And I think it needs to be talked about more, because it's really not cool that, like, as a collective, we ignored what a lot of them were saying. Anna Cash said, I think Tati was venting about James to Jeffree and maybe Shane. Shane is a yes man to Jeffree, and Jeffree hyped up Tati. He probably made it more seriously to Tati. Right. And the thing is, like, you can tell that, like, Shane wants Jeffree to like him. Shane will, and I don't get it. Like, I get that Shane may be insecure, but for a very long time, Shane was a very aggressive, outspoken person. And so now to, like, see him do anything and, like, not want to upset Jeffree and be like, are we doing it okay? Are we okay? Like, can we come in? Like, it's weird. And so, like, the actual tweet, like, one of the actual tweets that Jeffree put out, which this is something super interesting. He put this out and said, in response to James's little brother, who said, why does everyone act so tough over the internet? Which was about something else, not about this situation. And Jeffree said, why is your brother a predator? Why'd you really move back to NYC? Exactly. Shut the F up. Jeffree says that to a kid, and then within the week is online saying, I'm so sorry to all of my fans. I let people get into my ear. I shouldn't have said anything about the boys that James was trying to date because there was no truth there. I was just letting people get in my ear. And now a year later, he's saying, well, I still have somebody who could accuse James of sexual misconduct, of assault. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to say what they have, but I have a voice memo of it. And it's like, dude, this is a kid. Like, I don't know. In my video, I'm like, yeah, he was 19, but at the same time, he's a kid. Like, you're learning. He was on YouTube for a very long time. Well, not a very long time, but like a few years during some really important formative years. And so he may not have had some of the same experiences that typical people have, or that people like, he wouldn't have learned lessons that other people learned. He gained success at a very young age. And so, yeah, he needed a talking to. He needed to be knocked down a peg. Like, he needed to be humbled. But not like this. Like, Shane, oh my gosh, James is not innocent, but it did not need to go this far. This is not okay. This is not a culture that I want to live in. Kaylark said, I don't think he's really that insecure. I'm sure he has insecurities, but he plays it up so much I don't believe it's genuine. Yeah. I don't think that, like, I don't think that Shane is that sensitive. Like, how he says, he's like, this is too much anxiety. I can't do it. I'm going to quit the beauty community 12 hours after my second launch, after my restock doesn't sell out. But I think he has like some sort of motivation to want to stay in Jeffrey's good graces. And so he's like trying to please him in that way. I mean, not that he wants Jeffrey to like him because he's insecure, but that he wants Jeffrey to like him for a benefit that they can both get, if that makes sense. Courtney said, the fact that on that podcast you would only let FaZe Banks listen to the proof, like one of the slimiest dudes, is reputable. Right. Oh, and you said, don't forget the drama between Jeffrey and a 10-year-old son of Kourtney Kardashian. Right. Michaela said, Jeffrey just needs to shut up about the alleged voice memos because him always bringing it up is low-key pressuring the victim to come forward. Right. Like, here's the thing. If this person does not want to come forward, stop talking about it. Because there's no point. There's no point in talking about it. Don't pressure that person to come forward. Let them deal with it on their own. Stop talking about it. Otherwise, it's a lie. Like, I don't think it's true, you know? Elizabeth said, look, I think it's really telling that a whole year later, James is minding his own business and doing better while Shane and Jeffrey are still bickering on this. Yeah. Danielle said, y'all, Jeffrey popped off on a fan about social distancing a week before he was in the same room with Banks for that podcast. Oh my gosh. Kaylark said, devil's advocate, Shane is the first friend to say, I don't agree with Jeffrey, but I still love him. Isn't that what we would want our friends to do? We don't all try to destroy teenagers, though. I mean, here's the thing, like, if Jeffrey had gotten into, like, a little bit of a scuffle and Shane was like, hey, I don't agree with that, but, like, you're still my friend and I love you and I'm going to support you, that's one thing. But when it comes to who he is, it's totally different, you know? Like, it's on such a massive scale. It's not like, oh, he's a little bit racist, but you're my family and I love you. Like, no, that's not cool, dude. Like, you know, it's just on such a bigger scale. So, in conclusion, that statement was trash. It was one of the most condescending things I have heard in a long time. He literally, like, I don't know, like, he seemed so angry, and I'm like, I feel like that's who Shane is. Like, Shane pretends to be sensitive, he pretends to be soft, oh, I have so much anxiety, I can't handle this, but that's who Shane is. Like, that aggressive, angry, hypocritical, right on the cusp of, like, admitting responsibility but not quite getting there, like having some accountability but not quite getting there, that's who he is. Because he doesn't think he did anything wrong. He said, I'm sick over the situation, but I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't tell James she was going to make the video. I knew she was going to make the video, but I didn't say anything about it. But I didn't have a hand in it, so I didn't do anything wrong. And also, Jeffrey's my family, but everyone else is trash. Like, it was just, ugh. So, Meg Kelly said, I don't know if pretending is the right word, like Gabby. I think he embellishes for his audience. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that Shane does have anxiety. Like, it's a confirmed thing, but like he plays it up, and he uses it as a way to not be accused of things. He handles it like he uses it to get out of things, which is a big no-no. And something that really bothers me is like, with Shane, I don't want to shame anybody, but like, Shane does take advantage of his anxiety. He wears like the same clothes over and over again. He's always in his bathrobe. He talks about how he doesn't shower, like all this stuff. But he pretend, oh, I'm so poor. And it's like, you put on this persona of somebody who's just so fragile for the world. And I'm sure he does have anxiety. I'm sure he does. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't, but like, the 99% of the people in the world who have anxiety don't get to live the way that you live. You don't get to use your anxiety as an excuse to not be criticized for things that you did wrong. Like, you are so incredibly blessed that you get to sit in your mansion day after day in the same clothes, not showering, and you're not getting written up for missing work. You're not losing money. Like, it is such a blessing to live the way that he lives. And if his anxiety is so bad and he's so sensitive, he has every resource available to get treatment. And so I have very little sympathy for the anxiety when he plays it up. And the thing is, I just recently got to this point. Because during the like series that he did about the conspiracy palette, I was like, man, like he takes everything such to heart. Like I ate it up. I ate everything up. And it took a little bit more time seeing what he did after the conspiracy palette, seeing all the other things that came out, for me to realize like he's really playing this up and using this as a way to avoid taking accountability and like listening to criticism. Hazel22 said he has a problem or just his personal problems, but it's not right to say he's lying. Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that he's lying about having anxiety. I'm sure you said this before I like finished my rant, but the thing is like, I'm not saying that he's lying about having anxiety. I would never say that. But I think he plays it up a lot for the camera and he uses it to his advantage. Anna said, he talks about how poor he is. He grew up poor, but he's rich now. It's okay to be guilty or have the same habits from as a child, but he can't say he's poor. Yeah, and I've considered that too. Like, definitely it can be weird if you grew up poor and now you have a ton of money. Like, it can be a really weird, like, paradigm shift for you to make. But, like, you don't get to say, I'm so poor, when it's really, I didn't take advantage of my platform like other people, like my peers did, and so they have a lot more money than me, and I'm realizing I could be a lot richer. You know, like, it's just the dynamics of it. Feisty Penguin said he can afford to have therapy come to him. Exactly. Elizabeth said, I would like to also say that Black creators been telling y'all that Shane's documentary was a sham, a commercial, and that anyone who aligns themselves that closely with Jeffree should be looked at. I know. I talked about this earlier. I'm like, that's so embarrassing that, like, not everybody, but, like, as a community, a lot of us had the luxury of ignoring those commentary channels, of ignoring those videos and being like, oh, well, that's in the past, or it doesn't affect me. Like, it's I don't want to, like, it's shameful. It really is at this point. Like, it's shameful that we have the privilege of ignoring these terrible things that are being done, and we choose to ignore them. And I'm not speaking for everybody, but for me, for a long time, it didn't register to me the severity and, like, the fact that Jeffree hadn't changed. And Shane, like, wasn't being genuine in the way that he was presenting himself. Like, it's embarrassing. Chantal said, as someone with severe anxiety, I 100% agree, B. Yeah. He also said, it doesn't matter how anxious I feel, I have to keep going, so it's kind of a slap in the face when he goes on with this crap. Right. That Goody said, exactly, Shane acting poor when we all know he has enough money to provide and care for himself is so annoying, especially for people who look up to him and want to see him happy. He pretends to act poor. Yeah, he gets a lot of sympathy. But, I mean, in conclusion, his statement was trash. He deleted it. Said he was going to stay off of Twitter, but he's been, like, liking people's posts on Twitter for the past few days. Jeffree hasn't really said anything about it. I think it is absolutely disgusting. Like, if this doesn't show people what kind of person Shane is, that the fact that, like, they had the restock, it didn't sell out, and 12 hours later Shane's saying, I'm done with this community. Like, bro, what are you talking about? You didn't do anything here. You didn't do anything. And it seems like you're throwing a little hissy fit because your stuff didn't sell out, but in all reality, he's probably trying to get out of the way of the bus that's careening towards Jeffree Star's career. He's like, oh shoot, if Tati comes out, like, people are calling this stuff out from Dramageddon 2, I gotta distance myself a little bit. I gotta, like, step away from this a little bit so I can have some plausible deniability. No Way said, shame he's willing to throw away his fans and his reputation and his morals for money from the devil. Right. Taylor said, how does Jeffree change, though? Like, most canceling is done to get a person to change, but would Jeffree? I have no idea. I literally have absolutely no idea. I don't know. Like, what do you do? What do you do at that point when you are filled with so much hate? So much hate. I don't know. Like, you get to a point when you're young, I think a lot of times you can say, like, oh, that person was young, they just didn't know any better, when they've said or done certain things that wouldn't be acceptable as an adult. Not all things, but, like, some things you can say, like, ugh, they were just ignorant. But you get to a point where ignorance is a choice. And Jeffree has been called out and called out and called out and called out and called out, and he's chosen not to reevaluate himself. He's pretended like he's reevaluating himself, but he doesn't actually do it. And, like, the biggest proof of that is Jeffree's video where he did what he did last year after James did his No More Lies video, where he said, like, I shouldn't have been like that with James. I let people get to me. That's not who I am. I don't want to be like that. And then a year later, he's still accusing James of being a predator. Like, I don't know how you change. I don't know what you do. Like, it takes some very serious introspection and, like, I don't know, like an intervention, a reality check from somebody. Share some of the humble pie with him that you tried to stuff down James's throat. I don't know, dude. Chrome Blush said, same B, same. I don't even know at this point anymore. I have no idea. No Way said Jeffree should be deplatformed. He was literally involved with revenge porn and was caught on camera punching a teenage girl at Warped Tour. He's not problematic. He's dangerous. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people are saying. They're like, it's literally more than just like YouTube drama. It's literally a bully. Like, it's somebody who likes seeing people be hurt or who is aggressive towards other people. I haven't seen the video of him punching the girl, so I can't speak to that. But like, there was in Liam McAvoy's video, he read like an excerpt from this dude's book where he said that Jeffree threatened him with a knife to like force that guy to let Jeffree perform a sexual act on him. And it's like, this is dangerous behavior. This isn't just somebody being petty. This isn't just somebody being shady. This is dangerous. And Jeffree knows how much power he has. Why do you think he like took Ashley Kyle under his little wing? Because he knew he could tell her things and she would run with it. He knows he's got so much power. And that's like one of the worst parts. Carousel said, Jeffree absolutely needs to be deplatformed. He needs to step out of the public. Shane too. That clip from his podcast of him fantasizing about torturing a black woman is terrifying. I heard that like 5 minutes before I came on here. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what? I literally don't even know what response to give to that. Carousel said, it was only 4 years ago. He went on and on and on. I couldn't even listen to the whole thing because it was so triggering and heartbreaking. Like, I don't know the context. I don't know the person. I don't know who he's talking about or what prompted him to say that, but it's like, that bit went on too long. And I really think that like Shane's podcast is something that is going to be a massive part of his downfall. Because you've got the part where he's talking about, oh, like, I Googled the baby, like a naked baby, and it was sexy. Like, and he said that was a joke, like, whatever, you said it was a joke. But, like, you said it on a public platform. That's where he talked about interactions with his cat that shall remain nameless. That's where he talked about this little 6-year-old girl who was talking about, like, following him on Instagram. And he said, like, oh, she's like a little kid, but she's, like, sexy. Like, she's a cheerleader. She's sexy. And it's where he talked about this. Like, he said that he was gonna, I don't know what, like, how to phrase it in a way that's not gonna be, like, too upsetting. But he basically went into, like, detail. And of course, it was presented as a bit of how he would get back at this woman who said that he was racist. And he's like, I'm going to hold up a knife to her throat, make her say all this racist stuff, and then cut out her throat and be like, there you go. The last thing you said was racist. Deal with it. And then he proceeds to detail how he would continue to torture her and then kill her. So that happened. He had a lot of details for that. I haven't even processed all of it yet, but like, that's what happened on the video. Ooh, it was like, I don't know. Like, I get that Shane had this like edgy humor back then, but there's some stuff that's just like, dude, that's too far. Like, why are you going in so much detail about this? And I'm kind of wondering, like, what's going to happen with his co-hosts on there? Because, like, that was with Jessie Buttafuoco, I think. And I'm like, what's going to happen to her? Is she going to, like, be called out too or what? Kaylin said, OMG, maybe you do a series revisiting his podcast. Dude, that would be so rough. Adultish said, I missed his podcast days, but hearing this makes me truly look at Shane in a whole different light. Yeah. Bell said, and when the very woman called him out for it, he started crying to her. Of course he did. I'm so sensitive. Gosh. Yeah. That's like, I don't have words for that. Like, why would you do that? Why would that be something that would like go through your brain? I don't know. But in any case, I know you guys wanted to talk about Jenna Marbles a little bit. So this has been super freaking long. So we're not going to talk about Jenna for too long. Maybe like 10 minutes. But I know you guys wanted to talk about it. So let's talk about it real quick. Unicorn Blush said, edgy humor is not always a defense. Some of this really is beyond humorous. Even for my effed up dark humor, I don't see the laughs. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I enjoy dark humor. I've said this over and over and over again because I don't want anyone to like think I'm above like a dark joke. I like dark humor, but listening to that, I was just like, I get that it's a bit, but like I don't understand the point. Like, I didn't think it was funny. You know, like, dark humor has to have some sort of punchline, and this was just like, dude, are you good? Like, are you okay? Hi, Chloe. We've only got a few minutes left, so I'm so sorry. Courtney said, some people say some dark stuff they're thinking, and when they get strange looks, they go, just kidding. Right. They'll be like, it was a joke. Don't be so sensitive. It's a joke. All right, so Jenna Marbles. Ugh. I'm not going to go into everything she said, but basically she put out like an 11-minute video talking about how she's grown a lot since she's been on YouTube. She's like, I started YouTube a really long time ago, and I made some videos that were offensive, and some of them I've left up because I want people to see how someone can change. Like, who I was then is very different from who I am now. But I think it's okay and it's important to like let people see that progression, just so they know like change is possible. But there are some videos that she's put on private because people were really offended by them. And then she basically said that like I'm gonna spoil the end of the video, so leave if you don't want to hear it. But she said like I've been privating a ton of old videos, and I need to take a break from this channel because I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, I just want to put happy stuff out onto the internet, and I don't think I can do that on this channel anymore. And so she's taking a break from YouTube. She said it might be permanent, but she doesn't know yet, and we'll see. And 3 of the videos that she referenced specifically were a video where she was impersonating Nicki Minaj, and people called it blackface, but she said when she took her, she's like, this is what I looked like when I took my wig off, and she showed a clip from the end, and it looked like a bad spray tan, but I don't know if she like put extra bronzer or blush on. I don't know. She like the way she worded it, it didn't sound like she was trying to do blackface. Like, she just put on a wig and like acted like Nicki Minaj, but I don't know. The second one was she did like a music video, and she said, hey, Ching Chong, show me your King Kong dick. And then another one, I don't think she showed a clip from it, but she said in 2012 she did a video talking about girls who sleep around, and like it was a slut shaming video essentially, and she said that she no longer like aligns with that sort of belief. But she said like, people have been asking me for a long time to address these videos, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, I don't want to ever offend anybody. These were stupid things that I did, and because they're causing pain to people, I'm privating them now, and I'm taking a break, essentially. Christine said, Jenna did the mature thing by apologizing, but I really am going to miss her, definitely. Michaela said, I hope she gets all the rest she needs and that maybe she can come back, but I also totally understand if she wants to pursue other things. Brianna said, I think it's good that she talked about it and owned up to it, but I feel it isn't my place to forgive her. Courtney said, me and my sister hope Jenna is just leaving the Jenna Marbles brand, like leaving her channel as is, and hopefully starting a new channel for a fresh start, which I pray happens. I love Jenna. Yeah. Potato McGee said, On the plus side, though, Jenna is a great example of what a good YouTube apology looks like. Belle said, like, I'm sad she's leaving, but I also think it's important to acknowledge when you've done wrong, own up to it, and apologize. It's not my place or theirs to decide when they've apologized enough. Another thing Shane and Jeffree don't understand. Yeah. Unicorn Blush said Jenna used to do a lot of bad tans back in the day. Right. Sunflower said, I think Jenna handled it in a really mature way. I'm sad she's leaving, though. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, like, Jenna's always been really good about apologies. She's always been really great at them. And so I think it's super, like, it's a good example. It's a good thing to do, to say, you know, she said, like, people always call me, like, an unproblematic queen, but then there's this whole other side of people who are really hurt by what I did. And so, don't come for me. Don't come for me. I think it is so great that she apologized, but I'm confused as to why she feels that she needs to take a permanent break or like a permanent step away from this channel. Unless it is like to start a different channel because she's like, I've had this one for too long. It's run its course. It's done. Like, it feels like, I don't know. And it could be because I'm not, like, somebody who was offended by those videos. I didn't see them when they were up. Like, I don't remember watching any of those videos. So maybe if I had seen them, I would feel differently. But I feel like it's a really big reaction to say you're just going to stop making videos. And I almost, yeah, Unicorn Blush said she's probably overwhelmed. And I understand that. Like, of course, like, coming out and, like, publicly, like, talking about these things that you did that were really hurtful, it's a lot. So I understand, like, saying, like, hey, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, gather my thoughts, and, you know, I'll be back eventually. But to say, like, I think I need a permanent break from YouTube just seems like a lot to me. Elbel said, I think she's been tired for a while. She had to make an apology video because people were attacking her about a video with her dogs and a video about a fish tank. Yeah. And I can totally see her not wanting to do YouTube anymore, but it just seems weird to me that it's connected to this. Like, I don't know. Like, she can handle her own channel however she wants, but I'm just like, if you're tired of YouTube, that's totally fine. And if you're saying, like, this no longer feels like a place where I want to make content, that's fine. But, like, it just seems like it came out of nowhere, and to make it connected to these old videos that you're putting on private, I don't know. I just don't. Like I said, I could be totally ignorant and wrong, and, like, you can say, well, you weren't somebody who was affected by those videos, so you wouldn't get it, and let me know if that's how you feel. But that's just me. And also, part of me wonders, hi. You want to shut the door?
Huh?
I'm streaming. Can you shut the door?
Oh, sure.
Yeah? Hi. Get her out of here. Take the dog.
Get your toy. Roll.
No. Babe.
I know. Go ahead.
Part of me wonders, because she mentioned about, like, being friends with people. I'm like, did Shane ask her to make this video? Like, as so, like, tinfoil hat as that sounds, I'm like, did Shane ask her to do this? All right, but let me see what you guys think. Meg said, what she said made it sound like she couldn't be on YouTube and be complicated. Saya said, yes, I don't get that either. Kaylor said, she isn't for sure leaving permanently, though. I think she needs to take time and reflect, focus on the current world climate. 2020 is a lot, man. Yeah. Sinead said, she may feel like she's outgrown the platform, especially with everything that's happening with Shane and Jeffree. She's been on the platform a long time. Definitely. Brooke said, I think part of it is the criticism of her friendships with Shane and Gabby Hanna. No Way said, I think she might be feeling a little unfulfilled. To be honest, she's 33 and makes pretty immature but wholesome content. I think it's gotten a little overwhelming. Yeah. Meg Kelly said, it seemed like she's leaving because of the feedback about her mistakes. And Courtney said, we love the queen of accountability, but to me it felt like it was probably because she was getting shit for being friends with Shane or Gabby, etc. Yeah. My polar bear said Shane Dawson is leaving the beauty community, quote unquote, and Jenna's leaving her YouTube channel. What's happening? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, I can totally understand wanting to move on from the platform. Like, she's been on here for a very long time. Like, she just makes kind of like goofy videos that are fun and silly, and that's fine. Like, that's a fun thing to do. It's a fun way to live. But if she's outgrown it, she's outgrown it. That's totally fine. Just the way it was presented seemed odd to me. It seemed like she said, like, you know, to like whittle it down into one sentence, it's like, people are really hurt by these videos that I made in the past, and I don't want to hurt anybody, and so I need to take a break. And I don't know. Kaylork said, I think she's trying to decide if staying on YouTube would offend people. I think she is taking the criticism to heart and genuinely doesn't want to hurt people. Yeah, like, and I really, like, I understand, like, Jenna does seem like somebody who is very considerate of other people and, like, doesn't want to hurt people's feelings. But, like, I don't know. Yeah, Louisa said it does just seem like an excuse to leave. That's kind of what it seems like. It seems like this is an extreme reaction to old content, because that content, like, those videos that she showed, at least the 2 clips, like, that's when she still lived in Boston. Like, that was a long time ago, and we've seen that she has changed. Like, no one's accused her of doing blackface or being insensitive or saying racist things, like, in the current day and age. And, like, the jokes were insensitive or stupid or just ignorant, like the way that she talked about slut shaming. Like, it was just an ignorant opinion to have. But I feel like she's somebody, if anybody, who has shown that you can be, like, edgy and dark and kind of crass and evolve into somebody who just wants to make people happy and who is nice. But again, I wasn't somebody who would have been offended by that content. So, I don't know. Simon says, very late, but thank you for saying what you did about Eugenia. I could not agree more. That was, ooh. I won't get back into it. Potato McGee said, I can kind of see why she would leave her channel based off this instance. She gets called out for so much. I can see why this would be a tipping point. Yeah. Sunflower said, I think we should start asking people if they still have the beliefs they had in the past without making it seem like we're canceling them. The more people would take responsibility this way. Yeah. Like, I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm like, I feel like YouTubers should agree to, like, have people do, like, a cancellation Q&A where they let people say, like, ask all the questions they want to ask that would make them stop supporting that YouTuber, like, depending on their answer, if that makes sense. Like, you did this in the past, do you stand by it? Are you sorry for this? Do you believe this? What's this? You know, like, because something that's happening a lot that I personally don't like is people trying to cancel people for stuff that happened a long time ago that isn't relevant to who they are today. Because there are some people who it is relevant, but, like, it seems like for a lot of people, they're always trying to, like, find something to stir up drama for some people. Like, some people, it is relevant, it's related to what they're doing today, it should be talked about. But at the same time, sometimes it just seems like it's petty stuff, like going back and digging this stuff up. And so it's like, just let them, like, do what one Q&A, ask me the questions that you want. And if the answer isn't what you like and it's something you'll try to cancel me for later, you can stop watching now. Carousel said, as a person of color, I feel like even I wasn't aware of some things being not okay back then. We as a society have grown, and Jenna has kept the pace and always been respectful. I'm glad to hear your thoughts on that, because like I said, like, I wouldn't have been somebody who, like, that would have been an attack on, you know, like, blackface isn't an attack on me. And so, like I said, I don't ever want to be ignorant. I don't ever want to be somebody who's like, oh, well, it wasn't offensive to me, so it doesn't matter. Like, I want to consider how other people feel. So, like, I appreciate you sharing your perspective on it. Christina said there should be an I am canceled challenge, and they have to show their side and nominate someone for it. Literally. Kathleen said maybe she sees the bad behavior going on across YouTube and is jumping ship before she gets pulled into anything. There's so much toxicity on the platform these days. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like, I totally understand, like, wanting to get out. Like, she's been on here for a really long time, but it just seems very, I don't know, like a big jump for, like, people were upset about this. No one demanded an apology, but it hurt people, so I'm leaving YouTube. Like, the jump seemed like a lot, but I understand if she wants to leave. Carousel said, I feel like in cases of racism, sexism, etc., we need to realize the distinct difference between canceling someone and holding them accountable. I feel like a lot of serious issues get dismissed and invalidated under the guise of cancel culture. Absolutely. Definitely. Like, that is an internet, like, culture that we need to get under wraps, like, of recognizing accountability versus canceling. Because people really just want to cancel people instead of saying, like, hey, like, you did this and it's not okay, and we'd love if you made it right and, you know, like, made yourself better and improved, and we could move on. Like, if you could apologize for it because it was hurtful, we would love that. You know? Unicorn Blush said, I don't want to be ignorant, but I also don't want to live in an overly sensitive world either. Cancel culture has showed us that we need balance in that. Right, because if everybody wants to be canceled, then, or, like, if everybody wants to, like, jump on the cancel bandwagon, you're going to be canceling people left and right, and it's going to lose all meaning. And, like, people who have good hearts and who try to do good things are going to be under fire for things because we're just in a cancel culture mood, as opposed to people who actually need to be held accountable and need to, like, we need to hold their feet to the fire a little bit and say, like, you can't just get away with this, if that makes sense. Kaylark said, I feel like we should clarify that she's on an indefinite break. I mean, it could even be that she's gone for a week or a month and she just didn't want to set a timeline. Yeah, like, she could just be gone for a week and come back. But I think it was, like, jarring to a lot of people because she said, I need to take a break and it might be permanent. So I think it's, like, that's just the thing that people are stuck on. That's the thing that I'm stuck on, is, like, dang, really? Like, it might be permanent. What? Toodles McPhee said, I don't think cancel culture is from overly sensitive reactions. It's more not allowing them to change. Yeah, for sure. We have to let people change. If we're going to call people out, we have to let them change, or else it doesn't matter. Like, because in most cases, the way cancel culture is somebody does something bad, they get called out for it, we get pissed, there's nothing they can do to make it right, we ignore it for a little bit, and they go back on with their lives. Like, that's how it seems to generally go. And so we gotta let people, we gotta say, hey, you know, if they like do like a genuine apology and it seems like they've changed, you know, we gotta be open to hearing their apologies. But whew, that is pretty much all I have. This is one of the longest lives I have ever done. So you guys are some real ones for sticking it out with me. I appreciate it. If you have any final thoughts, go ahead and leave them below, because that's pretty much all I have got. Taylor said, I think all YouTubers should have an accountability coach. Gabby, Jeffrey, Shane, James, Tati, all of them. They need PR people, like, for real. Because the thing is, like, you don't see, like, cancellation with traditional celebrities, like, in the traditional media. Because they have teams who help them. And I think this is, like, part of what it is, like, this is just part of YouTube culture, is we see so much more of, like, a personal life. Like, a lot of people make content around their personal lives, and so it's easier to see their mistakes. Whereas you wouldn't necessarily see that with somebody like an actor or an actress or a pop star. Like, you wouldn't necessarily see that with them. And so we have to understand that, you know? Nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to have a past that they did something that they were embarrassed, or that they did something that was mean, or they bullied somebody, or they betrayed a friend, or they said something insensitive. Like, everybody has something that they've done wrong. The only difference is the majority of us aren't putting ourselves out there, aren't putting our personal lives out on the world for in front of the world for millions of people to judge. And so we have to be okay with accepting apologies and being able to move on if people are genuinely trying to be better. But, all right. Sinead said this was so fun. It's 1:30 in the morning, so I'm going to get some sleep. Good night. Good night. Get to bed. Have a good night's sleep. Christina said, I hope everyone has a great day / night. Potato McGee said, I think we should give people a chance to apologize and change, and then go from there based on their following behavior instead of just criticizing their apologies. Yeah, that is an awesome point. Brooke said, you're not planning to leave YouTube anytime soon, right? No, it's not in my plans for now. I'm kidding, no. I love hanging out with you guys and doing these, so definitely not anytime soon. Becca said, I love this live. I was cooking dinner for the fam while listening to it. Thank you for hanging out. You know, Crumblush said, I would like to think these YouTubers have genuine people in their lives that would hold them accountable, but it doesn't seem so, especially recent events. Right. All right. Well, that is all I've got for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, for hanging out with me. If you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe, hang out. We typically do these lives where we talk about current events once a week, typically on Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Kaylin, you can send me a DM on Twitter. That's typically where I'm going to be hanging out. My handle is Inside the Honeycomb, but I will put a link in the description box because it's spelled with like the two vowels in it's like HNYCMB for honeycomb. So I'll put a link in the description, and you can definitely find my Twitter there and send me a content idea. But all right, now I'm for real. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks so much for hanging out. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.